It was just very scary to see that happen.
Keessummoota keenya kaadhaate jechuudha. Waa'ee jara guyyaa san magaalaa Ambootti jara qunname irraa xiqqoo haasawaa nu godhan jechuudha. Briefly, our guests today is John and Jesh. They are native of St. Paul. They spent 18 months in Oromo, and they're a Peace Corps member. They spent
Baga Nagandufta. Kanko Yasu Jadama in Ethiopia. Fihada Manako, Jennifer Jadamti. Nui Piscorina, Ambo Kesa Jarane. Afan Oromo is she, Ani, Wayada. Her Afan Oromo is much better than mine. I know because everybody in Ambo told me every day. So in Peace Corps, you apply, and anyways, we found out a couple years ago that we would be going to Ethiopia, and we were very excited about that. After a couple months of training, we were placed by our program manager in Ambo. And some of the things that we love about Ambo are the weather, the people, and the badena. It's very good. When I was raised on a farm in rural Missouri, and I instantly kind of fell in love with the Oromo people because a lot of them are farmers and they're very hard workers.
So Peace Corps works around the world in a lot of different countries, and Ethiopia is now the biggest post in the world. So there's over 200 volunteers in Ethiopia now, not just Oromia, but in Tigray, Amhara, Southern nations. There's a lot of people volunteering in Ethiopia right now. So we were working on health projects in Ambo. We were working a lot with people with disabilities, a lot with high school students, like especially with girls. So we were in Ambo when the protest started. That was on April 25th. So we had no idea what was going on. I mean, we had no idea about the expansion plan or anything. We were just doing our normal thing. We were going to the high school to teach HIV. And then we heard the protests starting. We could hear them like starting at the university, and they were moving east, like throughout the town. And Josh was like trying to get to the high school, and the road was blocked. So all the cars were being diverted around the town. And we still didn't know what was going on at that point. We asked some people at the university, like, why are all these people protesting? And we kind of got the answer that, it was about the expansion plan. And then it just kind of died down that day. And then the next 3 days were somewhat normal, somewhat peaceful. I mean, you could tell things weren't quite right, but they were fine. Yeah. Oh, that's right. That was the weekend that those journalists and the bloggers were thrown in jail. But we still didn't have a clear idea of what was going on, because when you have an Ethiopian IP address, you can't access the same websites that you can, like from the US, for example. So we're trying to like Google these things and we're not getting anything. But then we had some people from back home like copy and paste the text of some articles and then email them to us. So we eventually kind of found out a little bit of information.
Sure. So on Tuesday morning, our landlord told us, do not leave your compound today. It's not a good idea. And that's kind of when we were very perplexed. We didn't understand, and we asked why, but we couldn't get a clear answer. And so from our compound that day, we heard when did it start, Jen? It started in the afternoon, and we could hear protesters, and then kind of towards the end of the afternoon, we heard what sounded like gunshots, but we weren't quite sure if they were or not. But to come to find out a little later, they were gunshots, and somebody that we know that lives in the middle of Ambo had witnessed and seen 4 bodies near his compound, and they were killed on Tuesday. And then Wednesday morning, we received the same information that do not leave your compound today. And Wednesday was very, very intense. It's the gunshots on Wednesday started at about 10 in the morning, and we were hearing gunshots every few minutes all day long until 6 p.m. And I'll let Jen talk about. She went out to get some phone cards so that we could make some phone calls.
So I was walking to the nearest souk, which was just a few steps away from our house, and like this huge group of people were running by, and I said, "Mali figtu," and one guy said, "Policia stufu," like the police are coming here, and they all just kind of scattered. Like he ducked behind a corner, and other people kept running, and it was probably like 30 adults that were running away, afraid. And what next?
The police had followed them basically away from the protests and chased them, and I think that was the very frightening thing and frightening moment to both of us. And it's when we were very, very sympathetic for the people that were involved in this, because it's I think both of us feel that it's, people have a right to think what they think is right, and, it's just very scary to see that happen. And it was also something that we always known before this had ever happened, was that we would be with friends, and people would sometimes turn and they would start to whisper to us, and we didn't really understand, why they're whispering to us. But now I think we have a pretty clear indication of why people whisper when they want to talk about any type of political issue. And we also, know that, not a lot of people, even family members in Oromo, even speak to each other about political issues, which is, pretty scary, we both think. So the reason that we're here today is that Peace Corps, Jen had actually sent an email, and basically the article that we had written on our blog, and Peace Corps said, you absolutely, it's not good to post this while you're still in Ethiopia, because it's, you could be in danger doing that. So Jen and I both felt that a lot of people in Ambo, they don't have a voice about the situation, and so Jen and I both felt it was best if we come back and tell the story to anybody that would listen to us. And so we decided, Peace Corps gave us interrupted service, which just means it's kind of like honorable discharge from the military, so that we could come home and tell the story and to all of you today.
And we were staying at a little hotel, and we noticed that these 2 men were just overly interested in everything we were doing. They had all these stories that didn't add up, and They were constantly like trying to be really close to us and trying to listen to us. And until that point, we had never really understood why not everybody, most people in Oromia are afraid of spies. Like when we first got to Ambo, everybody thought, she is CIA. That's what they would say, she is CIA, as if I were a spy or something. And we just kind of thought that was amazing, and that people were kind of crazy. And then it happened to us. Like we were being followed and being watched. I mean, I don't know who these men were or why they were so interested in what we were doing. I mean, you can only guess at why and who they were, but it was scary, And one of them is from Minnesota, Representative Eric Paulson. He's out in Minnetonka area? Eden Prairie, yeah. Eric Paulson. And so anyways, we met with him last week, and he had no idea that there were so many people from Oromia living in Minnesota, and he had no idea that there were mass arrests and killings going on in Ethiopia. And like, how could he know? It's not like BBC is covering this or something, So we told him our personal story, and he has spoken to somebody on the Foreign Relations Committee, and they plan on doing some sort of letter, or it's a little unclear to me because I don't know anything about politics, but we have spoken to him. And that's a really good point that you bring up, because if every person in this room were to meet with a representative or a senator, state or federal, it can make a difference, at least in Minnesota, just to make people aware of what's going on, because how would they know?